Hello everyone, welcome to another Awakening Beauty contemplation. As always, I would like to invite you to grab one of your favorite drinks, tea or coffee, or simply a glass of water, and join me for a contemplation about the beauty of solitude. Last time, we spoke about this loneliness epidemic, and I tried to articulate some of the hidden costs of social connections if they are not intentionally created with the right supportive systems. And in that contemplation, I briefly talk about how we sometimes mix solitude with loneliness. In this one, I would like to bring a little bit more clarity into what I mean by solitude and shed a light on some of the benefits. We always talk about the benefits of connections, but we rarely talk about the beauty and the benefits of solitude. So I think one of the core issues we face today is coming from the fact that we mix solitude with loneliness. Loneliness is disconnection, but solitude is a conscious choice. It's a conscious choice that opens enough space within us. So in that space, magically, we can connect to the universe, to the existence of all. So in that sense, I would like to reframe solitude. It's not a disconnection. It's actually a bridge that can help us to deepen our relationship with ourselves first, and through that unity, extend an invitation to others. So, we talked about the benefits of social connections. Yes, they can reduce risk on the healthcare issues like heart rates, anxiety, and depression. But solitude has a lot of benefits in terms of how it also helps us to stay healthy and whole, holistically, in our bodies, in our minds, in our emotions. And I will be linking some of the research in the description for the ones who are eager to explore further. But one of the first things is really similar to the connection. The right level of solitude can also help us to have emotional regulation. And there are also a lot of studies that shows people experiencing less anxious, a feeling of calmness, even after 15 minutes of solitude. Because in social connections, like I briefly said last time, if the context is not safe and right, you can get exposure to so much emotional turbulence. And if you are going through that cycle yourself, it might be even more challenging to ground yourself. But in your own solitude, if you can just observe yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, and just simply sit with them, even for 15 minutes, it can calm you down. It can open more inner space for you to connect to those parts of you that you have long ignored. And with that openness, we can go back out to the world and connect with others, with wholeness, with love, with more compassion. And I actually wanted to record this video after reading a research about how solitude can help us experience awe and how that feeling can help us to include all of life, and how seeing awe this way and solitude and its relationship with awe this way can help us to open more space for solitude in our lives. And for this part, I will directly read it from the research and will link it in the description. Awe typically arises when people encounter something physically or mentally vast and feel a need to change their mental structure to accommodate the experience. Our experiences are self-transcendental, allowing people to transcend their current frames of reference and feel connected to a greater entity. As a self-transcendental emotion, awe may evoke feeling alone, but not lonely, breaking the misconception that solitude leads to loneliness. In the presence of a grand entity, people can free themselves from their daily triviality and may feel only themselves speaking to the grand entity and therefore feel alone. However, this feeling alone does not come with loneliness because self-transcendence provides a deep sense of connectedness, usually with an entity larger than people themselves, such as culture, humanity, or all of existence. I think I have experienced this very vividly a couple of years ago when I had my first visit to Grand Canyon. And I'm sure this might resonate with many others who had the opportunity to see it in person. In that vastness, I felt so insignificant. I even have my photos like I am a little small dot among the openness and vastness of that Grand Canyon surrounding me in its beauty. And in that vastness, I felt so insignificant. Like, who am I? I am just a little small dot in this huge existence, in this huge universe, Earth, in this beautiful ecosystem. Yet, at the same time, when I was able to stay with that insignificance, paradoxically, it empowered me in a way that I started realizing that I am actually all of them. I am this. I am not my limited self experiencing this. I just immediately dissolved into the Grand Canyon, its vastness. It was one of those magical experiences in which I was able to paradoxically hold those two total opposite feelings inside me. I am so insignificant as a human, yet at the same time, I am so significant as a human, being all, experiencing all. As always, let me insert the Rumi quote here. You might know that I love him. Rumi says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." That was exactly what I was feeling in my solitude in Grand Canyon. And yes, these type of experiences, exposures to the immensity of life requires us to go deep, to be in our whole presence. And usually when we are with others in social connections, our presence can be distracted. We divide our attention to many different people around us. But if we go into this vastness of our universe alone in our solitude, what emerges from those experiences is not loneliness, is not disconnection. It's indeed the opposite. In that solitude, in that depth, in that surrender, in that letting go of our ego, we can become all. And through that wholeness, then we can get into the right connections with the right people who are resonating at the same level with us. Like I said in the other video, it's a beautiful dance of our solitude with social connections, supporting each other, enhancing each other. And another important part of solitude that is long ignored in today's world of craziness is how solitude makes us creative and how essential it is for our creativity. I briefly talked about this in the last video as some of the downsides of too much social connection. When we connect too much, we are prone to groupthink. We influence each other. And that influence might not be all the time positive, and it might not give us a chance to hear and listen our own wisdom. In solitude, we can create more space for listening to our inner world. And in that silence, we can let new ideas to emerge that are different than what's already out there in the world. And in social connections, we are usually very structured in our process. In our solitude, we can just let go. Our mind can wander. We can just play, explore different things. And in that openness, new ideas can be seeded. And we can let those seeds that have been planted, maybe in social connections, to grow in their own time, to turn into new projects, new products. Nowadays, I am reading a book that talks about the daily rituals of many of the world's well-known creators. Happy to link the book in the description. The name is Daily Rituals: How Artists Work. And it looks into the daily rituals of a little bit over 150 poets, writers, musicians that we all know. I can't really say that I finished the book yet. I'm somewhere in the middle, but there's a clear trend that I'm able to see in all of the creators who made unique contributions in our world, who made an impact with their own authentic styles. They consciously allocated time for their solitude. Indeed, this was the way that they had opportunities to create. So most of them were morning people. So I think the difference might be in terms of the timing of their rituals. But like I said, most of them were morning people. But beyond that, maybe the hours were different, but the overall structure of how they opened space for their creativity was almost constant. They constantly protected their creative time, especially early in the morning. They did most of their creative work. And even if they were married, their family, their children respected this sacred time. They knew that this is what they need for their work. And they were able to protect that precious, sacred connection time, which helped them to go deeper, dig deeper, and bring these gifts out to the world in the form of beautiful songs, in the form of beautiful books, because they were able to keep their sacred silence intact. And yes, they also socialized, but it was mostly in the afternoon after they have allocated enough time for their authenticity, originality, shine through in their creative work. So, like I said, it was once again a beautiful dance of solitude in the earlier fresh hours of the day, complemented with some social time so that they can also feed themselves, be active in life, which also feeds their creativity that they bring into creation in their solitude over the longer term. One of the biggest problems of our society today is really consumption. We are so used to consuming. And in my mind, solitude means creativity. If we can open more space for solitude, I'm almost certain that over the longer term, it will help us to heal. It will help us to welcome different parts of ourselves. And at the end of that journey, we will just pour that love out to the world in the form of creations. It's that simple. When we are whole, when we are full of life, full of ourselves, we can just give back to life in the form of creativity. And of course, I briefly mentioned about this last point in the last video too. It's not a coincidence that most of the transcendental experiences, spiritual experiences, are happening in the solitude. When you look into ancient traditions, like most of the yogis, most of the founders of our well-known religions, traditional religions out there, when you look into Buddhism, you see this common pattern. Someone realizing that there is more in life. And they start a journey. They start a journey by living the culture, living the society, isolating themselves enough so that they can hear their inner voice. They can purify so they can finally come into unity within themselves. And in that unity, similar to the description of awe and how it can impact us, we can connect with all. I like repeating all of the quotes that I appreciate. So I talked about this in the previous video, but once again, I will bring it into the space as well. Eric Fromm, he says, paradoxically, the ability to be alone is the condition for the ability to love. In that solitude, once we connect to our bodies deeply, to our thoughts, thinking patterns, to our emotions, we build a relationship with ourselves. And in that embodiment of our humanity, if we can integrate all different parts of ourselves, if we can sit with ourselves with acceptance, with forgiveness, with compassion, this could be the playground for us to exercise the same love, compassion, curiosity in our social connections. And I think our world definitely needs more of that. I think we need to heal so we can see the beauty in us. We can honor the beauty in each other. And solitude has a sacred space in that. It's not disconnection. It is actually a bridge for us to go deep enough so that in that depth we can unite with love, unite with life, and extend that love to others in the right social connections. A quick recap. Solitude has lots of health benefits in terms of helping us to emotionally self-regulate, but also it helps us to experience beauties of life, joy of life. And in that joy, we can go beyond our own ego and unite with all of life. We can have transcendental experiences that helps us to overcome our own boundaries. And lastly, through the creativity that pours out of us, it can help us to share our gifts with the world. I hope this inspires you to open more space for solitude in your life so we can connect healthily and we can honor the beauty of life more together. Till next time, remember your beauty, awaken more of it internally, and express more of it out in the world. Thank you all.